Oh, I'm great. Thank you. Okay, this is going to be long. Well, firstly, I started in my country. I had worked a bit and gained some exposure, and then things had changed for a while, and I had the opportunity to go to Paris for a week. So I thought I'd use this wisely. I met with some agencies, which was some were polite and interested, but I was no longer 18 years old. So I left, but not disheartedly, as I had the opportunity to come back a second time, but this time to the south of France. Now, my companion left for work, and one day I was so bored, so I decided to go to the commercial center. And there, bizarrely, I saw a man looked over at a woman, and then he looked over at me and she hurriedly came to me. She spoke very little English, and I spoke very little French, but I managed to understand her. She was Natalie. She was the editor for Elle magazine, and she had this new idea that she was about to venture into, and she would like for me to model with them. She had asked me if I was interested. I said, of course, and that's how it started actually. So I exchanged a number, and she called me. After which her assistant, who spoke immaculately English, he called and explained everything to me. And I met the other girls, and thereafter I found my way. Learn as much as you can about the industry and what it entails. This way you'll be able to market yourself and master whatever you wish to do. Your pose, your style, your technique of walking, and so on. This is the killer question. Oh, initially I wanted to be a policewoman. Maybe this is why my poses are so manly. After leaving high school, I sat the exams and I was successful. And then I went to the interview. Here something happened. I had dressed in a half-white dress with a purple blazer, but I had the wrong shoe. So the superintendent commented on this. She made note that I wasn't wearing any stockings. Then she commented on something else, and it was a little bit complicated and a bother for me. So I don't know what transpired. So I left, I think, without signing anything else. The last time I counted, I had been to at least 15 countries, though I have difficulty remembering them all. Okay, I would have to say Norway. I went to a small place called Allison, and I remember getting out of the airport. It was very, very cold, like no other place I'd ever been before. I called my friend explaining how brutally cold it was, and he explained to me, he asked me how far I was, and I explained to him. And he said, oh, you're about to go through a tunnel which built underwater. He explained to me that water is on top and water is at bottom. I was like, oh my God, what? It was the most scariest feeling I ever had. But then I thought I welcomed the artwork and the ingenuity of these engineers. I would say no. Sure, we had difficulties, but the environment in which I grew up, I was blessed to have things that I wanted. Not everything, but I was satisfied. Comparison to other areas that I had seen, I was fortunate to have been surrounded with people who were highly educated. That puts a meaning to life and had set a certain standards and upbringings for their kids, who wanted the best for their children. And I was embraced around this, and it intrigued and was intrigued by it. So I had learned from the basic of what was going on. And personally, for me, it is just poor is just a state of mind. not necessarily not having food, clothes, or money. It can be you're poor in culture or poor in mind. Well, I was given the opportunity to use this platform to express myself. I felt as if I'm being used to speak on behalf of others through my song, a mysterious way of communication, I think, another way of sending a message. The song "Power of Love." It happened that I happened to cross path with someone who was incredible, uplifting, and had left engraved in my memory something magical. We were completely the opposite, but there was a spark somewhat, and that's where the power to your love came from. Yes, I do. I do. I wanted to be. I was a consulate. It had a fresher to it. It was prestigious. The environment, the foreign language that was spoken, the opportunity was great. It had broadened my horizon to see different things in life and from different perspectives. It was an important job that I had, yeah. Oh gosh, it would definitely be Scarface. I have seen this film probably about 10 times. I know this by heart. From the moment he was to bomb the consulate and his kids, and he decided not to do so when the other man did, then the part where his wife was coming down from the elevator and he had this intense and loving look. That time he had said the world is his, and eventually he had gotten it and he lost everything, which goes to show no matter how high you go, you can fall, and if you're not careful enough. I don't know if I am, because there are so much more that I would like to have gotten and gotten done that I hadn't. For me, not until I've reached a level of accomplishing what I desired to do, where I can say at least I am at fullest I am my fullest, then I will be successful, I think. Every day I have new ideas, I have grown, and I have learned, and I'm still learning. My favorite artist, there are so many. There are so many old ones, and there are so many new ones, new upcoming ones. The new upcoming ones are fantastic. I would not be able to choose, I think. I appreciate a variety of music. Yes, I have. Jealousy exists, a tint of it does. But I never usually let this bothers me. Making friends was easy, and making friends with my enemies is even easier. When it rains, look for the rainbows, and when it's dark, look to the stars. In other words, whatever the challenges are that may occur in your life, every day, in your everyday life, there must be something or someone that makes you want to look forward for another tomorrow. Okay, that's it. Thank you for having me.